Welcome to the LumiCast, your premier gateway to the universe of limitless photo editing. Dive into the galaxy of Luminar software and the dynamic world of AI photo editing. Join us weekly for a burst of creativity and the drive to transform your photos with confidence and skill. Broadcasting directly from Clever Photographer headquarters, it's time to welcome your hosts, Jakub and Holly Linton.
Hello, everyone. We're back for another episode of LumiCast, the podcast where we talk about photo editing, photography, and our beloved Luminar Neo. I'm Holly Linton from Tennessee, USA, and next to me is Jakub, founder of Clever Photographer. Hello, Jakub. How's it going?
Hello, Holly. Yes, I am great. And I'm excited to be here. It seems like it's been ages since we talked last. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this one.
Good. What is our topic for today?
Finally, we're talking a little bit about travel photography. I always say that I'm excited about the topic, but this one I really love. Europe against United States. We're going to be talking about amazing locations to photograph in United States, and we're going to also talk about amazing locations to photograph in Europe. Well, by default, Holly will talk about the ones in States, and I will talk about the European ones. Are you excited for that one?
Well, I'm excited, except I'll have to tell our listeners that you probably already know I'm a homebody, so this is really going to put that in place as far as, you know, where I've never been before. So it should be interesting.
Nothing wrong with that, Holly. So if anything, you will learn and find new places to go along our listeners. So that's really cool,
yes,
I think.
I'll be able to add a bunch of things to my wish list that I have going.
Perfect. So are you ready to start with your first one?
Yeah. All right. So one of the first most popular places that people like to visit in the United States is Yosemite National Park in California, where you can shoot epic granite cliffs, waterfalls, and it's one of the most iconic landscapes in the world. And I do believe that Ansel Adams did a lot of photography there.
Absolutely. Yeah, that is epic location. And you're right. There is a huge connection with Ansel Adams, who did that kind of very dramatic black and white captures there. So, yeah, I think if you're a landscape photographer, you will know two of these things, Ansel Adams and also Yosemite Park. So that's a great one.
Mm-hmm.
How far is it from your place? How long would you have to travel? What do you think?
Oh, gosh. I could think that would be about at least a 6-hour flight for starters.
Right. So it's a fair bit of traveling.
I have no idea. All the way on the other side of the United States from me.
Fair enough. So I guess it would be a trip for quite a few days as well. Anyway, you wouldn't probably just go for like one afternoon, maybe for a couple of days or a long weekend.
Yeah. You know, can't take my private jet there for the day.
Absolutely. Talking about dramatic landscapes and cliffs, it's time for my location. And it's not a surprise that I'm going to start with what I think is one of the most beautiful landscape locations in the world. And that's the Isle of Skye in Scotland. If you would ever thought about a location where the dragons live, I would really believe it's this place. It's incredible. It's wild, cinematic, dramatic, everything that you can imagine, full of beautiful cliffs and mountains and rocks and lochs and rivers. And honestly, it's absolutely, absolutely beautiful. Now, why would you go there? Of course, for the landscape photography and also for the change of the weather. When you go there, you need to make sure that you have pretty much waterproof everything from your socks all the way to your camera, because it can really change every second. There is a saying on the Isle of Skye that pretty much at every second of the day, there is a spot on the island where it's raining. And it's the case. It rains a lot, but it can be really beautiful. I used to live there for about 7 years, and honestly, it's just breathtaking. So Isle of Skye in Scotland, in the Scottish Highlands, is incredible location, and I recommend everyone who is in love with landscape photography to go and see it.
Well, that sounds great. It's definitely on my bucket list. I do have some Scottish heritage, and Jakub and I talked before the podcast. When I think of Scotland and the Isle of Skye, I automatically think of Outlander, which is one of my favorite series, but he has told me that it's not necessarily what it looks like there. I was hoping to, put my hands on that magic rock and go back in time. But I think it's all the pictures that you've shown of the different cliffs and castles. It looks amazing. So I would see why that's on the top of the list.
Absolutely. Yeah. So is there like a Mac Linton in the family?
Yeah. And well, my husband is very Scottish too, and Irish. So
all right.
I'm a little more of a mutt. I'm about 33% Irish, and then I'd have to look up how much Scottish there is, but there's some. So.
There's a bit of Scottish in all of us, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay. Next on my list is the Grand Canyon, which is in Arizona, where you'll see massive scale, giant rocks, weird textures that change color throughout the day. So I've only seen pictures of it on the internet. Haven't been there yet.
I mean, on the pictures, it looks absolutely stunning.
Mm-hmm.
And I know quite a number of people who went, and it's ideal to have a guide with you, especially if you're planning to stay there for a little longer. But it looks epic. So I'm sure it would be very, very good.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Well, I will leave the wilderness for a moment and take you to the romantic Italy, where we're going to head to Venice. So that's one of the cities I have on my list. And while by now probably quite, I don't want to say overshot, but lots of people been, especially if you're from Europe, I really think that regardless on how many times you've been, it really is a beautiful place to visit and photograph. It's also one of those super busy places, unfortunately, so you have to be careful about picking up the time of the year when you're going to go, and then also be ready to be early bird and late bird at the same time, because during the day, it's almost impossible. It gets super crowded. In the summer, when the cruise ship starts to come, it gets full of people and it's really difficult to capture something. So Venice, Italy, beautiful floating city on the canals where you can photograph your squares and streets and gondolas. And if you're there during the carnival, also the masks. But you have to be aware that it can get super busy, and you may have to be flexible with the times when you're going to photograph it.
Mm-hmm. Well, this might come as a surprise, but I've been to Venice, Italy. But I was 14 years old. We did a family European vacation. I would highly recommend that if you have teenagers, don't waste your money bringing them to Europe, because they're not going to remember it and they're not going to appreciate it. So I really have vague memories of it. I do know we were in a little gondola, and that's really about all I remember. So I didn't get to appreciate it. And I wasn't a photographer at the time, so I didn't have any pictures of it either.
I can't believe that you've been in Venice and you've never been in Grand Canyon. That's amazing.
Yeah. I do things backwards and opposite in my life.
Oh, well. Okay. What's next on your list?
Third on my list is Monument Valley, which is in Utah and maybe at the border of Arizona. It's classic cinematic desert with iconic rock formations and warm tones. So I can see landscape photographers appreciating this location.
Well, probably some of the iconic shots from there. One of them is this really long road kind of going into the wilderness. That's really, really famous. And then you're right, some of these peaks kind of standing in the middle of the landscape. Personally, it's not necessarily my thing. I think it looks all a little bit same because there's only so much you can do with it. You know, it's two peaks and there is a sun in between. But it looks stunning, looks huge and vast. And yeah, I can imagine how some photographers will absolutely love the location. So good pick, good choice. Well, talking about the countryside then, on my next one, I'm going to take you to the south of France. Why? Because I'm going there this summer again with a group of photographers, which is really cool. We're going there for workshop, but more importantly, because I think it's one of the most beautiful summer locations in Europe. South of France, we're talking about Provence and Camargue, and we're talking about lavender fields and beautiful Provençal villages with that kind of warm stone buildings. And we're also talking about wild horses and wild bulls and flamingos, and it's just beautiful. Honestly, this area or this location in Europe is just so beautiful. Beautiful food, beautiful places, beautiful weather, beautiful subjects to photograph. All you need to do is just a car, camera, you drive around and the pictures will come to you. So absolutely recommend. If you ever want to visit it, check out our workshop at 3nomads.com because we go there every year and it's breathtaking.
Yeah, your workshop is on my bucket list and I have not been to France yet, though I did take 6 years of French before I dropped my class. I don't know if I could make my way around speaking, but no, that sounds like a great trip.
Yeah, absolutely. You should totally do it.
Okay. Next on my list is Yellowstone National Park in Wyoming. Now, when I think of Yellowstone, I think of the cartoon Yogi Bear when I was little. You might be too young for that one, Jacob, but I believe he worked. I want to say Yogi Bear worked for Yellowstone National Park. But anyway, in real life, You could see geysers, lots of wildlife, and surreal geothermal colors that feel almost otherworldly, out of this world. So the Old Faithful geyser is the popular one at Yellowstone National Park.
Cool. There was also, I think, series called Yellowstone recently. Maybe not so recent, but I think that was popular at some point as well.
Yes.
And absolutely, you're right. This main, I don't know if it's a lake or, where you get that kind of blue and azure and yellow and it almost looks like from different planet. That is also in Yellowstone and it looks absolutely incredible. Yeah, what a location. Now, talking about Yogi Bear, you know that my sister is 12 years younger than me. So when she was young, I had a quite big part of my life when I was looking after her when my parents were at work or something. And the Yogi Bear was always something that I play for her and she would just stay in front of TV. So I absolutely have a connection with this series. It was Yogi Bear and Smurfs. So Yogi Bear connection with Yellowstone, it's all coming together now. So
great.
Good choice for a location.
Who would have guessed?
All right. So, before we round up this round, it's time for my location. And since we're already in France, we have to talk about Paris. It's probably the most beautiful capital in Europe. Mixture of iconic landmarks and beautiful streets and then the river and Eiffel Tower. And I really think that you can photograph Paris at any time of the day. Night, blue hour, sunrise, sunset, during the day. There is always something to photograph. So I love going to Paris. I love photographing Eiffel Tower. Also the cafe scenes, the street light, the river reflections. I think it can be incredible. If you really enjoy street photography or cityscape photography and you want to travel, I think Paris is one of the cities that you should definitely try to photograph. So that would be my location here.
I think a fun idea, creative idea for taking pictures in Paris would be take images of anything French. So like a French manicure, French baguette, a French poodle, things like that. Anything with the word French fries. That would be like a good little series of pictures to do.
Absolutely. Yeah. You can be really creative with that. Are we going to do one more or are we going to take a break now? What do you think?
Well, I did 4 and you did 4. So yeah, let's do one more before we take our break.
Great.
My next one is called Antelope Canyon in Arizona, where you can shoot narrow sandstone curves with beautiful light beams, creating abstract compositions. And I'll have to say, I've never heard of Antelope Canyon.
No? Wow.
Have I been living under a big rock myself?
Oh, that's a shame. It's absolutely stunning. A quick tip here. They actually do a photography specific tour. So you can book a normal walk through it with a guide, but they also do specific photography guide tour. And then the photographer goes and, for example, he let sand come from the rock. So it creates beautiful effect. And he also brings you to specific location for composition and they give you some tips on what to photograph. And it's absolutely stunning. So if you have a moment, definitely check out the pictures from there because it's breathtaking. They also have these kind of funny rock formations which look like certain things, like a fish or cake, or it's just so beautiful. And absolutely, if you're into these kind of natural places to go, then Antelope Canyon is the place to visit.
Okay.
Is it my turn? Yes, one more. Now, Faroe Islands, that's actually Denmark place, or that, not Dutch. It's islands that belong to Denmark. And they are actually on top of my bucket list. Absolutely stunning place, remote, raw, with beautiful cliffs, fog, waterfalls. And on the top of it, you can also photograph them with northern lights if you're lucky. So it is absolutely beautiful. I will not even attempt to name some of the locations because it's impossible. I already struggled with the Faroe Island, never mind some of the locations. But yeah, there are beautiful waterfalls, villages, foggy landscapes. Absolutely place to visit. If you really like this kind of Icelandic, Scottish, Scandinavian landscapes, this is the place to go. So yeah, that would be my next one on the list.
Okay. Well, we are halfway through, so let's take a short break to hear from our sponsor. We'll be right back.
If you're listening to the LumiCast podcast, then we share something in common. We love editing photos, and we love Luminar. It's almost breathtaking what this amazing tech can do for you. On our website, you'll find countless different things to help you be more creative than you ever thought imaginable. From our photo manipulation masterclass to our power bundle with 986 elements, our essential preset bundle, editing software and extensions to our tutorials. Harness the power at the website at www.cleverphotographer.com/Luminar. Again, that's cleverphotographer.com/Luminar. Now, back to LumiCast.
And we're back. We're going to talk more about epic places to photograph in the United States and in Europe. So the next one on my list is the Great Smoky Mountains of Tennessee and North Carolina. Well, it just so happens I live about 90 minutes from the Great Smoky Mountains. So you have there the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, and it kind of crosses the state lines of Tennessee and North Carolina. There's a bunch of different locations like Clingman's Dome, the Appalachian Trail, Newfound Gap, and places like that are very popular for people to visit and take pictures at. So I'm still exploring. I've only been here for a little over a year, but I have definitely been in the Great Smoky Mountains. So I've gotten a foot in, haven't gone anywhere to take pictures per se, but I know I have been in the Great Smoky Mountains because I've driven through it.
Yeah, I saw some great pictures from autumn from there, like with lots of colorful trees and also like a river with long exposure with the trees and fallen leaves and stuff like that. It seems like that's really a good place for autumn captures. So you should definitely give it a go, maybe like October or November.
And you would love it for the mist and the atmosphere and the fog, because that's what the Smoky Mountains is all about. The fog that forms in the mountains.
Cool. All right. Yeah. Well, then coming back to Europe, when I was talking about Faroe Islands, I was talking about that Icelandic Scottish landscape. Well, we have to mention the Iceland because it kind of went through its massive boom, not recently, but a couple of years ago. It has been like a new discovery, let's say 5-6 years ago. And then since then, lots of people went. So it's not really a surprise anymore. I think lots of people seen most of the locations, these big waterfalls, this kind of forgotten plain in the middle of nowhere where lots of people photograph themselves with. Also the black beaches with white horses on them. So lots of beautiful locations there. If you're lucky, you can definitely photograph the northern lights there. Also, if you choose another time of the year, the golden hour there lasts like pretty much the entire day. So that's pretty cool for landscape photographers. But yeah, definitely a location worth visiting, even though it's a little bit over photographed right now. I still think that you will have a blast going there. The only downfall of it is that it's still a little bit pricey. The flight tickets are a little bit expensive. And then once you're there, not necessarily the car, but the accommodation and food can be a little bit pricey too. So it's a trip that it's worth planning, saving money for, and then doing. Iceland definitely up there for many people and still worth visiting.
And let's not forget the cute puffins that you can get pictures of.
Absolutely. Yeah, good point.
Okay. Next on my list is Big Sur, California. And I know that one of the Mac operating systems was called Big Sur, where you could see dramatic coastlines, cliffs, and ocean views and get those wide angle compositions in California.
Cool.
Have you been there before?
I've never been there. There's only one thing I can think of, and I think that is this big bridge, which is like a part of the landscape, and I think lots of people use it as a part of the composition. But you're right, it's very much like the kind of seascape, dramatic landscape. So that must be really cool as well. Okay, well, with that, I will be going back to Italy, actually. This time going to Dolomites, which are also very, very popular. So talking about mountains, yes, you can go north of Europe, again, Scandinavia or Ireland or Scotland, but you can also go south. So you can kind of combine the Italian food and Italian culture with these incredible mountains. Now, why are they famous? They're famous for this very kind of sharp peaks with dramatic light. You can see snow on the top of them pretty much all year round. So that's really, really cool. There is a number of different compositions and peaks that you can photograph. You can also choose if you want something physically accessible, but you can also go and do it really like a wild adventure where you sleep in these little huts and pretty much carry everything on your back, your food and your gear and your sleeping gear. So that can be lots of fun as well. So the Dolomites can be pretty much an adventure for people who enjoy that kind of thing. So definitely Dolomites are next on my list. And talking about that and talking about Italy, we have not mentioned during the Venice bit that you have met the Pope.
Yes. I did. Well, I had an audience with the Pope, but I know we were way back in the line. It's not like I met him, face to face. I didn't say he didn't hear my confession, but I remember the crowd. And I guess it was something that people like to do or are excited to do. But as a 14-year-old, I'm sure my parents dragged me along for that one.
Yeah.
But,
that means that you went to Rome as well, right? Not just Venice then in Italy.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes.
Very cool.
Okay. Next on my list, Zion National Park in Utah, where there are towering canyon walls and incredible light rays, especially during the golden hour, and you'll see red sandstone cliffs there as well. So
cool.
That sounds like a good place to visit.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And in a way, I guess it's a little bit like the combination of the character of it, a little bit like the Antelope Canyon, because it has a similar shapes and it has these kind of like a rock formation where you can actually walk through, so it creates beautiful light. But it also has that kind of orange color cliffs and rocks, so it's kind of combination of the two. And well, I guess some people will not necessarily agree, but I don't think it's that over photographed like the Grand Canyon on Yosemite, so that's maybe a good place if you're looking for something different. And also one thing I really like about this location is that it doesn't just have this kind of orange rock and stone everywhere. It has a really nice combination of the orange with the green. There is lots of foliage there as well. And I think that creates really nice contrast. So good pick. Good point. Well, on me, we're going to move a little bit of north. From Italy, we're going to go to Switzerland. And in Switzerland, I mean, if you're there, you're going to photograph the Swiss Alps. If you're into landscape photography, this is very epic. You get this beautiful, clean, structured landscapes and peaks and lakes and mountains, and you can compose them with beautiful paths and roads and fields or huts and old buildings. And it can be a really, really romantic and beautiful. Yeah, you can play a lot with the framing and also with the composition. And you can pretty much go any time of the year. You can go in the winter and look for that very much snowscape photography, or you can go in the spring, early summer and get beautiful greens and spring flowers and create something like that. So definitely Swiss Alps offer lots of great opportunities for landscape photography.
Well, guess what? I've been to Switzerland again, as a 14-year-old. Now I remember going on a train through the mountains. I do remember the snow-capped mountains and how beautiful it was. And we do have some family pictures from that trip, so I can refer back to those and confirm how beautiful it is there. I know my dad was taking a lot of pictures.
Oh, yeah, that's cool. All right. What's next on yours?
Okay. Number 9 on my list is New York.
Mm-hmm.
New York City. Okay. There's so much to photograph there in terms of architecture. So you'll get some street photography going on there, urban photography at its peak. So all the different scenes that you will see in New York, which there are many different types of scenes to see. Strange things, beautiful things. So it's a place to definitely visit at least once in your life, if not more. And even down at the Hudson River, there's a lot of great landscapes you could get. Or if you take a cruise out of the New York harbor, it's a great opportunity for getting shots of the New York skyline. And there's so many different landmarks there, Empire State Building and so forth. So that's definitely a good place to shoot. In fact,
absolutely. As
of the day of this recording, I know that Vanelli is in New York doing a photo walk with representing Skylum.
All right.
So
very cool.
Be on the lookout for different photo walks that take place there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the advantage of big city like this is that you can really do lots of different kinds of photography, right? From your portrait, street, cityscape, seascape or waterscape, I guess, So you really could spend weeks there and probably still have something to photograph.
Yeah. Even like Central Park and the horses.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, incredible. Yeah. Have you, well, I dare to ask, have you been?
Yeah. Well, yes, I used to work in New York City, so I've seen a lot of it. I never went to New York just to take pictures, though. But yeah, I've been there a lot.
Cool.
So.
All right. Well, from one of the biggest cities, I'm going to take you to a little village in Austria called Hallstatt. And if you ever thought about anything more cuter than that, I don't think that you can find it every one of you seen this place before. You just maybe didn't know it's called this way. And it's this very iconic capture of a little church, which is on a tiny, almost like an island with a massive mountain between, with a beautiful lake in front of it. It's just mirroring and reflecting into the lake. Around are beautiful old Austrian houses with different colors and different architecture, and it's absolutely incredible. So this is called Hallstatt, Austria, and it's in Austria. And yeah, it's just like the most beautiful fairy tale location, like almost from like your Grimm's book of fairy tales. And if you're ever in the area, it's absolutely worth visiting. It looks beautiful in any weather or time of the year, but especially when it gets nice and crisp and you get a little bit of fogs on the mountain behind, or early morning when the lake is still. You get beautiful reflection of the village in the water. Honestly, it's incredible.
Sounds like something I would enjoy seeing. And guess what? I've been to Austria. Now,
All right.
I've been to, on that family European vacation, I've been to Innsbruck, Austria. So I don't know where that is in relation to Hallstatt, but I remember the beauty that was there. And I also have a vague memory of a lot of cows wandering around, cows that had bells on them. So you just heard like a lot of jingling bells in Austria.
Oh, cute. Interesting. Any idea why you pick Innsbruck, or was it just one of the places you visited?
Just something my parents picked. I really don't know.
All right, cool. Well, I think we have one each left, isn't it?
Yes.
So
the last one on my list is Glacier National Park in Montana, where you can shoot rugged mountains, crystal clear lakes, and lots of untouched wilderness. That's
Glacier
it for me.
Montana.
Yeah.
Never heard about before. I wonder. Mountains. I need to check that out. Well, on that note, I will take you to the east of Europe. Well, southeast, into Greece, to probably the most famous islands they have there, called Santorini. Now, lots of people now, when they think of Greece, they imagine exactly this island. It's the combination of that beautiful Azure Sea, full blue sky, and beautiful white village on this island. It's incredible. It's beautiful, super, super photogenic. And also, if you're going in the summer, super, super busy. Like nothing like going there, paying all this money to travel, getting beautiful hotel, and then you wake up and 10,000 people arrive in 4 different cruise ships. And everywhere you go, you need to follow a line of several hundred people going behind. Honestly, anytime I see influencers with the pictures from there, I am amazed how they managed. And I would like to know how much of the post-processing happened there. Because, you know, when you see on Instagram this kind of Instagram and reality comparisons, or, you know, sometimes you see this kind of reality versus the photo. This is a perfect example of it, because some of these locations, it's like this beautiful top of a church where you can take a portrait. The thing is, if you would be standing there is like 300 people standing behind you at least. So yeah, it's a busy place, but you can again work around with the calendar, maybe come earlier, let's say April, May, or maybe in the autumn, and you will sometimes even get it almost for yourself. And it's beautiful, super beautiful and worth it. You can do the photography in the morning and in the evening, and then during the day, enjoy the sun, beautiful food, watching the beautiful scenery. It's just stunning.
So you're saying you might need to use the Gen Erase tool for your shots of Santorini if there's a lot of people in the picture.
And definitely pack extra portion of patience with you just to be able to do it. Holly, 20 places. Come on. Can you pick one which you would like to visit next?
Well, I do have a few honorable mentions I'll just rattle off real quick.
Go for it.
There's something a lot of people like to shoot. It's called Route 66, and it's about 2,500 miles that starts at Chicago and goes all the way west to California. And I know there are photographers who host the Route 66 workshop.
Okay.
So that's something that photographers like to do. I think I'd like to try that sometime. And then we have the New England and Maine areas, which are beautiful, very popular, especially for fall foliage and waterscapes, different lighthouses. So New England and, Boston area is popular for that kind of photography. Alaska, I have been there off a cruise ship. And I think that was a great shooting experience to get not only the great landscapes, but also whales, whale photography. And Hawaii. Hawaii is a beautiful place. So I think that there could be a lot of photo ops in Hawaii as well. So those are just some extras. But as far as this list that we had, I think the Carmog, France would be, with your workshop, would be the one on my list. If I could snap my fingers and appear somewhere, that's where it would be.
That's where it would go. Well, if I would have to pick one in United States, I would like to see the Antelope Canyon. I think that would be really beautiful. I know lots of people photograph it, but for me personally, I think it looks so beautiful. And I'm a big fan of these national parks, but sometimes I think they are just a little bit too big to capture, where, especially in this canyon, in the Antelope Canyon, because you have these kind of small enclosed places with the light coming from the side and with the sun. I think that would be definitely something for me. So great. All right. Well, thank you very much, Holly. That was great. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. If you have your own special place, please make sure that you share it in the comments with us, because we want to know. And that's it for today. Holly, thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
And have a great week. And we see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye, y'all.
And that's a wrap. Now, there's only 3 things left to do. Subscribe to this podcast so you never miss a future episode. Visit our website at cleverphotographer.com/LumiCast to see what we have in store next. And stay creative and keep editing your photos no matter what anyone says.